Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Jenny _ my truth is. And today, my truth is that my first rental property experience was a success. So I originally am from DC. I moved to Norfolk and I bought my first home that I lived in. And I lived in that home for, I think, maybe about 6 or 7 months, and then I converted it into a investment property and moved into another home. Now the reason that I first lived in this home is because I put down only 3%, which is pretty low. So when I bought this home in 2015, I paid, I believe, $155,000 for this home. And I put down, I believe, about $8,000 for this home, including closing cost. And this is for my visual folks. In 2015, I bought a home for $155,000, and I only put $8,000 down, including my closing cost. So then this property is 4 bedrooms, 2 full bath. It was fully renovated, actually beautiful balcony, and coming from DC, I've never heard of anything costing $155,000. At the time when I was looking to buy property in DC, I believe it was around $300,000 for a home, and I could not afford that. So I moved to Norfolk, moved into this home, and at the time, my mortgage when I moved in was $1,049. $1,049. Okay, so just a backstory. I'm from DC. I was living in an apartment. It was a luxury apartment, and it was about $1,900 a month, and we split it between myself and my roommate. Now from DC in 2015, paying $1,900 a month for a 2-bedroom for a luxury place, that was common. Actually, that was one of the cheapest deals that we could find, was $1,900, and that does not include utilities. But we did have valet trash, and I admit I wish I had it till this day. But anywho, so when we moved out, my mortgage being $1,048, including all my taxes, my escrow, my insurance, $1,049. I could not believe this number, and I could not believe that I wasn't buying homes earlier. Granted, I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing when it came to buying investment properties. It was actually my husband, currently at a time, who told me, hey, this is going to be our plan. We're going to live in a home for a year, and we're going to move out and make an investment property and buy a new one. And literally, we've done that from 2015 until maybe 2 years ago, 2021. So how many years is that? We've moved at least 6 or 7 times, y'all. And that was the only way we could reach our goal, because if you live in a home for a year, you can buy another home putting 3% down or 5% down. Because if you were to buy a home and say, I want an investment home, you would have to put 20% of the home value, which at the time, I believe I was 24 maybe. I did not have 20% of a $200,000 home to put down. That's about $30,000-$40,000. Hell no. But I did have $8,000 that I could put down and would not miss. So that summer, when we moved out, we rented the house to 4 guys. There were 4 students, and we rented the house at the time at $1,900. Surprisingly, that was a great deal in 2015 in the area that we were. So we rented the place, the 4-bedroom, 2 full bathroom, for $1,900 a month, and the mortgage was only $1,048. So we made a good amount of profit for our first home, which was $851 a month. $851 a month. And at that time, I believe I was making maybe about $65,000 to $70,000 in DC, and I left that job and found a job in Norfolk that I believe was like $55,000 a year, which is a significant difference between $70,000 and $55,000. But believe it or not, y'all, my life was so much more lavish in Norfolk with that, I don't know, 25K decrease in my salary, but I was saving so much money because my mortgage was only $1,000, utilities included. It couldn't have been more than $1,500 a month, and my expenses were only my car and food. So that's all I was spending. So I was probably not, my expenses was probably $2,000, and I was probably saving, at the time, I don't know the numbers, but I was saving a lot more than what I was saving in DC, making $70,000 a month, paying $1,000 just on my part of the rent, not including utilities, not including me catching a train to and from work, which was very expensive, and it was about an hour commute front and back. So a lot of time was wasted. A lot of money was needed for me just to get to work. Food was expensive. I was going out. And just my living expense as well as my life was just so much easier in Norfolk because it was so much cheaper, even though I was just making $55,000 a year, which I thought was a setback, but it was actually amazing decision that I made to move down here. So I'm renting the 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom house for 3 years to pretty much the same tenants, and they've never paid late. I never had any issues within that home. So I was very confident with that property because my tenants were amazing. And that was just luck because for that home, I just rented to the first person that reached out to me and showed that they could afford the home. And in 2015, the only way that you were able to find tenants was either word of mouth, going through the neighborhood and printing posters and putting it on that tree, going to Starbucks and putting it at that Starbucks or any place where you were able to put in your business information by the bathroom, hoping that someone would take it and give me a call. But Craigslist was the number one way that we got people into our homes in 2015. Now, you know, Craigslist has always been ghetto. So I was very lucky to have my first tenants be absolutely amazing. And they stayed there for about 3 years. Now, afterwards, this is probably the first lesson of making sure that you choose your tenants wisely. Was in 2019 after the guys that lived there for 3 years left the home. And I thought, well, what if I just find a mix of people and put them in the home? Because during that time, we were having very tough times looking for tenants. So I found 4 random people, somehow made them sign the lease to move into my home. And it was so difficult to find people at the time during the market. Now we know which months is the best time to find tenants. At that time, we had no clue. And the month we were trying to find tenants was absolutely terrible. So it was 2 girls, 2 guys, and boy, I learned never to do that again. Never find 4 random people and throw them in a house, because that was my first experience of chaos. Yeah, first of all, I had to drop the rent from $1,900 to $1,775. So that was about like $175 decrease, less than $200, which didn't really affect me because at the time, as long as the mortgage of $1,049 was getting paid, I wasn't stressing. Yeah, this was my first experience of tenant hell. I had 4 people. I'm going to try hard not to say their names. If I do, I'm a beep it out because I actually sent them my YouTubes so they can follow me. So I'm pretty sure they know who I'm talking about. We had one girl who was a scammer. And I learned that you cannot judge people by the way they look, because homegirl was gorgeous. You would think she was a sweetheart. Very sweet, very well-mannered, very feminine, very girly, and we would have great conversations about life, but she was a scammer. And I did not find out she was a scammer till she left, and she's always been paying on Cash App. But when she left, she filed some type of report that someone stole her Cash App identity, where Cash App was able to go into my account and snatch up 3 months worth of payments that she gave me. And they were just, and my phone was just dinging. Cash App just took X amount of dollars. 20 minutes, Cash App just took X amount of dollars. 20 minutes later, Cash App just took X amount of dollars. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. So about the 3rd time, I'm looking at my bank statements and I'm calling her like, what the hell is happening? And she gave me a sob story that Cash App made a mistake taking my money out my bank account, and I was not going to get the money back. Long story short, homegirl went ghost. It was probably the first time that I got fucked over by a tenant, but I learned my lesson, which was that I can't be too nice and I can't always be too personal. So that tenant was in the home, and when she did that to me, that broke me. Because if you know me, I'm a very giving person. I'm overly trusting, which I've learned through several stories I will tell you about later, about the lessons I learned and how to have a much thicker skin when dealing with tenants. Now, within that house, I had another guy, and homeboy was off the charts. Actually, the red flags were when his parents came to the house and said, can my son live here because he is not allowed back in our home? That should have been the red flag. But I'm like, oh, the parents are paying the rent. Oh, I'm going to get the rent every month. So homeboy moves in with the other 3 people who do not know. And within a month, he just started causing havoc. And it was clear that he had a lot of demons. He was physically fighting in his head. Homeboy harassed his tenants, put blood on the walls to scare his roommates away, was eating his tenant's room, was putting holes in the wall, and homeboy was low-key a sweetheart. And his roommates would call me all through the night about the problems that were occurring in the home. That was a very stressful year. The 3rd one was a girl, and homegirl was the definition of high maintenance, where she was only paying a fourth of the $1,900 rent, but I think she thought it was a millionaire mansion with maids. She was very high sedity, definitely came from money, but I didn't know why she had roommates if she had the money to live alone, because this environment was not for her. And she was stressed and crying daily about her roommates. And there was nothing that I can do. The only way the problem would cease is that they would have to go to court and agree that X, Y, and Z tenant would have to leave the premises. It was out of my hand because my name was not on the lease. So that was definitely a lesson I learned very quick, and have never put people who do not know each other inside of a home. But I say this, that this was the first property I bought. The first 3 years I made about $850 monthly in income. Didn't have any issues. They never broke anything in the house. It was smooth sailing. The third year, when I got these new people, was when I learned that I had to spend thousands on fixing up the house when they moved out. So I would say if I made about, 17 minus 1,000. With them, I was probably making about $700 a month, and they were there for a year. So 7 times 12 is what, 8,400. I'm pretty sure I spent all 8,400 during that year on my tenants damaging my home. I did not have the confidence to go to court at that time, so I never went to court. And that was something I regret, because the process is tedious, but it's pretty easy to do. But that's that. But I just want to say that I bought that home in 2015 for $155,000, and I only put $8,000 down. And within the first year, I made the $8,000 back, because I was making a $900 profit. And 9 times 12 is like don't give me the line, is more than $8K a year. So I definitely made my down payment back within a year. And that's the positives of investment, is that it's delayed gratifications, where you put money up front, but you'll eventually get more in the back end. So like I said, in 2015, I bought the house in for $155,000, and it is now 2023. And guess the value of my home. And this is on the low side. The lowest I would sell this home, because as you may know, the market is ridiculous, and I've been doing this for 8 or 9 years, and I have never experienced these 6, 7, 8 interest rates. I have never experienced the prices that people are getting from their home. It's ridiculous. It's baffling how the housing market has skyrocketed since COVID. But like I was saying, I'll give you 5 seconds to guess how much my home is currently worth. And this is on a low scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is just one of my homes. Currently, it is worth $290,000. Okay, I bought it for $155,000. I'm paying down my principal and my interest yearly with the income that I make from my tenants, as well as having income come towards my hand that I can hold. So if we do the math, if I were to sell my home today, let's see, I would make this amount of profit. $163,000. And I've had this home since 2015, and it's 2013. Minus my capital gains, which is X amount that I would have to pay, but I would have to subtract how much I've spent on the home within the past 8 years. I'll talk about when selling the home, everyone thinks that this is the amount that is going to go into your bank. But then we have something called capital gains taxes. And on another episode, I will talk about taxes and how taxes are no fun. They are no fun. And if you understood taxes, you'd be depressed. How much you have to pay back just trying to make something of yourself. So that is how much I would make right now. So within 8 years, I have $163,000, and that's just one property. You cannot make this money in a 401k. You cannot make this return on your money this fast. I don't think you can make it in a stock unless you bought in like Amazon before its prime or anything else. But this is a great way of making money fast, because you're also making money with the value of your home increasing, but you're also making money via rent. So that is my first experience, and I have so many stories where it was hell at this property alone that I'll talk about. But at the end of the day, this is how much I have right now that I can take out. And well, once I sell my home, take out and pay my taxes. So this is what I've made within 7 to 8 years. And this is a great number. Thank you guys. And my truth is that my first 3 homes were a success. But after those 3 years, it was a downhill slope. And I can go on and on about the other tenants at this house. And I will talk about one tenant in another video, because homegirl needs a whole 15-minute 20 where I'm reading her ass for filth. All right. Well, welcome to my show. Follow me for more stories and just giving you a perspective on the money that can be made when you're in real estate and buying a home. All right, guys. Have a great day.